Well, hello everyone and welcome to Call of Duty Advanced Warfare 2. Modern Warfare 3 Season 3. So, if you guys weren't already aware, a little bit earlier today, at the time of making this video, Season 3 of Modern Warfare 3 did end up going live, and interestingly enough, for Season 3, there were quite a few references as well as throwback content to Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, which was of course the first game that Sledgehammer Games made by themselves, and it is rather interesting that this season we got quite a bit of Advanced Warfare themed content. For example, a little bit later in the season, the Battle 27 is going to be going live. However, with the launch of Season 3, we did end up seeing a brand new weapon from Advanced Warfare, which is of course the MORS sniper rifle. And I will tell you right out the gate, it's a really good sniper rifle and it's very authentic to the Advanced Warfare counterpart. However, one thing that is pretty interesting, if you head on over to the Battle Pass and you look at Section 17, there is actually a black cell blueprint for this weapon, which is called the Situational Hazard, and I am going to be checking that out in today's video. And yeah, we're also going to be talking a little bit about Season 3 content. And we're also going to get a little bit nostalgic about Advanced Warfare. And yeah, with that being said, let's hop on over to the Creative class and check out the MORS, because this is of course the base sniper rifle. If we head on over to the firing range, you can see it's very authentic to the original Advanced Warfare weapon. It just looks a little bit sharper, and that's because this version is about 10 years newer than the original, which is hard to wrap my head around. However, let's go and try it out. Of course, as you can see, it has the reload animation, which is the same. It's kind of interesting that the MORS was a bolt action rifle. However, you basically had to chamber a new round every single time because it didn't technically have a magazine, which was interesting, and it still has the same firing animation. Overall, very authentic. It's basically the MORS that you remember from Advanced Warfare. And now we're going to go ahead and check out the black cell version of the weapon, which is called Situational Hazard. So as you can see, like basically any black cell version of a weapon, you're going to be getting some gold highlights. You're going to be getting a pretty great firing animation over there. And also, interestingly enough, this version has pretty much an ELO sight, which is quite interesting. And overall, it looks a lot like the Silver Bullet legendary version or legendary variant of the MORS that we saw back in Advanced Warfare. And yeah, that's what we are going to be checking out in this video. So with that being said, if you guys want to enjoy this one at any given point in time, make sure you leave a like on it down below, as well as be sure to subscribe. So without further ado, let's dive right into it. Alright, so as you can see, we're going to be joining into this game just a little bit later, but that's really not too bad. So, alright, nice. Okay, I just realized that I think I'm a bit of an idiot. So basically, before I was recording this video, I was using the MORS quite a bit, just the normal version of the weapon, just to level it up. And then when I switched over to this version of the weapon, I kind of realized that I was getting a lot of hit markers for apparently no reason. But then I remembered that this weapon, actually with the blueprint, is technically a charge weapon. So how it works is that you hold down the trigger and then you wait for it to charge, which is really interesting because if you were to just, aim down sight and shoot, which I was doing quite a bit earlier, yes, you might get like a one-shot kill. However, it's not going to be as consistent. That's why technically the best thing for you to do would be to hold down the trigger and just let it charge a bit. Okay, so there we go. So pretty much the charge effect, it's a really interesting idea. It's very much authentically an Advanced Warfare thing, as, Advanced Warfare had quite a few charge rifles and everything. But the problem is, if you want a quick scope or if you want to play a little bit more aggressively with the weapon, you really can't do that with that barrel. Because again, you have to charge your shot a little bit, then you can shoot it off if you really want to get a consistent one hit. Which just isn't really my style. So I just swapped it out a little bit. And also I put the scope back on, just because it's a sniper rifle after all. But I would say if you have the blueprint, try it out with the charge shot. It is pretty interesting, so it is worth a try. Although just depending on your playstyle, you might want to take it off. That's all I'm saying. Also, let's call in this UAV. Alright, there we go. Just got the headshot too. Nice. And let's just go call in this cruise missile while we're at it. Very nice. Things you'll have to see. Alright, so talking a little bit about the MORS, one thing is that if you've never actually used the weapon in Modern Warfare 3 and you used it back in Advanced Warfare, just so you know, the weapon feels exactly the same. Like, it is pretty much a copy and paste version of the weapon from Advanced Warfare. They just brought it into Modern Warfare 3's engine. It has the same kind of snappiness, same kind of movement, same feel. If I'm not mistaken, the same one-shot kill area. And And yeah, it honestly feels really good. And it's pretty much one of those snipers where if you get a person in your crosshairs, so basically if you know how to aim, you know it's going to be a one-shot kill. You're not going to be getting any sort of hit marker or anything like that as an example. Or that one. Or that. So it's a very satisfying weapon. And yeah, I think it is pretty interesting that for Season 3, Sledgehammer Games decided to bring back a lot of Advanced Warfare content. You know, like how I mentioned, we're currently using the MORS snipe rifle from Advanced Warfare, but a little bit later, I think it's going to be in the mid-season, we are going to be getting the BAL 27, which of course was the assault rifle that everyone used back in Advanced Warfare. That and the ASM-1 were pretty much the overused weapons of that game because they were the best weapons in the game. However, if you guys ever played Advanced Warfare, you know that the BAL 27 was great. However, you'd also know not to sleep on the HBRA-3, which in some cases was even better than the BAL, but that's just my opinion, especially if you got the Insanity, but that's a discussion for another day. And yeah, I think it's pretty interesting because at least for really any of the Sledgehammer games that we saw for Advanced Warfare, Sledgehammer never really brought back that much Advanced Warfare content, you know? Like, we didn't see Advanced Warfare content in Call of Duty World War II or Vanguard, but I guess it could be argued that it's because of the setting, of course. I mean, after all, Sledgehammer Games went from making the first ever futuristic Call of Duty game that takes place in the 2050s to making back-to-back World War II games. So, of course, if let's say you wanted to bring back the MORS, you really could not do that in a World War II game. However, with a modern game like Modern Warfare 3, you can kind of bend the rules a little bit. You know, you can kind of say, oh, well, the MORS, it's an energy weapon, it's a prototype, whatever it may be. Oh, we're kind of going off here a little bit. Nice, there we go. 45 kills, that's not bad. Now, there's also a point to be made that a lot of the content that was in Advanced Warfare really couldn't be brought into pretty much any of the future Sledgehammer Games CODs because of the advanced movement. Because if let's say you were to have one of the classic Advanced Warfare maps like Detroit as an example, it was a great map at the time. A lot of people enjoyed it during Advanced Warfare. However, if you were to take that map and then bring it into, let's say, Call of Duty World War II as an example, it really wouldn't work because Detroit was a huge map because it was designed for exosuits and also had a lot of verticality to it, which just simply would not work in a game that didn't have the exo movements. But I think it's interesting that they're able to do it here with Modern Warfare 3 because I will say I don't think we're going to be seeing any like Advanced Warfare maps coming in with Modern Warfare 3. I could be wrong, but I don't really see that. However, weapons could certainly happen, like what we saw with the MORS and the BAL 27. And who knows, maybe a little bit later we might end up seeing the ASM-1, or like how I mentioned, maybe the HBRA-3. That would be a really nice touch. But we're gonna have to see. I just think it's interesting because Advanced Warfare, at least my own opinion, was a very underrated game. It had a lot of great content that we really haven't seen again. Now, if you want to be inquisitive, and maybe look into things a little bit too deeply, okay. There have been rumors that the next game that Sledgehammer Games will be making is going to be an Advanced Warfare 2. So it's going to be in a futuristic game with advanced movement, and maybe it's a possibility, now this is just me thinking out loud, that the reason why they're referencing and the reason why they're bringing back some Advanced Warfare content is because they are creating the assets for an Advanced Warfare 2 that Sledgehammer Games is going to be making in, let's say, 2026 or whatnot. Now, one thing that is pretty interesting, and another thing to keep in mind, is that technically, Sledgehammer Games has kind of already done that before with the content that they released in their games, because naturally, Advanced Warfare was a very futuristic game. It took place in the 2050s. However, a lot of the DLC weapons that they made for Advanced Warfare were actually World War II weapons. Like, for example, the MP40, the STG-44. I mean, heck, I'm actually talking about the STG-44. That was technically the first DLC weapon that we saw, or at least the first DLC supply drop weapon that we saw in Advanced Warfare. And naturally, all of those were World War II weapons. And then a couple years later, we get Call of Duty World War II, made by Sledgehammer Games. So who knows, maybe I'm thinking too far into this, or maybe in 2026, when Advanced Warfare 2 gets announced, I can maybe look back on this video and be like, huh, I was ahead of the curve. Basically, we'll see how this hot take ages. So yeah, guys, that's going to effectively conclude today's video. I hope you went on to enjoy it. And if you did, don't forget to leave a like on it down below, as well as be sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications, so that way you guys will not miss any of the latest and greatest Call of Duty news, class ups, intel, and so much more. So thank you once again for watching. I'm your host, Deeper Jungle, and as always, I hope to see you in the next one.